this is Jen from Winrose Fiber Studio, and today we're going to destash with one of my favorite projects. We'll be making a cute bowl-shaped basket with 2 handles. So welcome to my studio. I recently organized what I like to call my Great Wall of Yarn, and I had this basket of yarn left over that I really didn't care about, so that's where I'm starting today. And I'm using the yarn that I find in this basket as the inspiration to pull a few more skeins that I won't miss from my stash. This feels a bit like treasure hunting, and it's really fun to come up with a collection of skeins that will look really pretty together. I also like to add some textures. I've got nylon, mohair, alpaca. All in all, I have 8 skeins, 1 bulky weight, 5 medium, a fine, and a nylon ribbon. I also have a pair of scissors, an extra large yarn needle, a large stitch marker, and a very big crochet hook. This is actually what it looks like in package. It's a US size Q or 15.75 millimeters. That new crochet hook is pretty, but I'm going to use my old one. It's discolored, I've had her for a long time, and I love her. Here's my yarn setup. It's helpful to have them all be center pull skeins. If you're drawing the yarn from the outside, they'll be rolling all over the place on you. And it's also nice to have that little bit of tension that comes with the center pull. Our project begins with a magic ring. If you're uncomfortable with a magic ring, you can certainly chain 2 and then work your first round of single crochets into the second chain from your hook. That chain will need to be a little bit bigger than usual. After you make your magic ring, you'll chain 1 and then work 8 single crochets into the ring. Use your stitch marker to mark the first stitch of each round. It does take a little time to get used to managing this many skeins of yarn. You'll see that I'm kind of using my hand like a comb just to straighten out the different lengths of yarn and have them be at an even tension. To be honest, I had a lot of yarn vomit from a couple of my skeins, so I have a lot more loose yarn starting off with this project, which is making it a little challenging for me. I am wishing I had sacrificed that little bit of excess yarn and just started off with each of my strands at the same length, and then they'd be pulling from the skeins at an even tension. So I guess that's a good tip for you if you're just getting started. I've just finished round 1, and I'm going to give the tail a pull and close my magic ring, and you can see we have 8 single crochets in our first round. Now we're going to start round 2. For round 2, you'll work a single crochet increase in each stitch around. A single crochet increase simply means to work 2 single crochets in the next stitch. You can see I'm still taking a moment to mark my first stitch with my stitch marker, and then you can just work your way around 2 single crochets in each stitch. I'm going to go ahead and speed things up and quickly get us to the end of round 2. Here we are finishing up the last single crochet of round 2. Our work is looking good. It's a nice idea to check over your work at the end of each round, especially because we're working with so many different threads here. For round 3, you'll work a single crochet and then a single crochet increase. You'll see that I'm going to go ahead and take a moment and mark my first stitch as usual. And then you'll just follow this pattern around. It's a single crochet, then single crochet increase, single crochet increase. And now we've time traveled to the end of this round. Here's our last increase of round 3. And now we're going to do something a little unexpected. First, let's have a quick look at our work. We've got our cute little spiral here, 3 rounds, and we're ready to move on to round 4. But instead of continuing on in the round as we have been, we're going to reverse directions. To do this, insert your hook into that first stitch and work a slip stitch. To do this, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the loop on your hook. Then you chain 1, turn, and work a single crochet into that slip stitch. This will be the first single crochet of round 4. I'm not going to mark it because it's raised, and so it'll be easy for me to see when I get back to it. But if it makes you more comfortable, go ahead and put your stitch marker in this first single crochet. For round 4, we'll simply be working single crochets around. Round 3 had 24 stitches, so round 4 will have 24 stitches. Here we are on that last stitch. So let's take a moment, and you can see I'm managing my yarn here and having a look at my work. Our first stitch of the next round is right here, and for round 5 we're going to begin with a single crochet increase. And then we'll be working 3 single crochets. So the pattern for round 5 is single crochet increase, 3 single crochets around. This will get us up to 30 stitches in this round. If you're uncomfortable reversing directions, it's okay for you to continue on in the same direction. I chose to change directions because it creates a tension that really contributes to the structure of the basket. While I was talking, you can see that I still marked my first stitch with my stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and work my way around, and I'll meet you at the end of round 5. Here we are at the end of round 5, and you can see I'm kind of curving up the edges. The right side of the work is now facing us as we crochet. The other benefit of turning our work is that the bottom of the basket that you see is also a right side, so it looks really nice when you're looking into the basket. I'm going to take a moment and weave in my beginning tail. And that just gets this out of the way and one less thing to do when we reach the end of this project. Our next 3 rows, rows 6 through 8, we'll just be working single crochets around. It's very helpful to continue marking the first single crochet of each round. At the end of each row, you'll remove your stitch marker. You'll start the next round with a single crochet, and then you'll just simply replace your stitch marker. This is all you need to do for the next 3 rounds, so I will see you at the end of round 8. By the end of round 8, we already have a cute little bowl. It's about 8 inches in diameter, or 20 centimeters. For round 9, leave your stitch marker in place. We're going to be working 10 front post slip stitches. To do this, you're going to insert your hook into the stitch and then out the next stitch. Yarn over, pull that yarn around that front post, and then through the loop on your hook. This creates a slip stitch that's facing the outside of your work. To make the next stitch, you're going to go back in where your hook just came out and then come through the next stitch. And there's our second stitch. So you can see that these stitches are facing the right side of the basket. We're going to just keep going until we've made 10 front post slip stitches. Try to keep your stitches relaxed. This round will add some structure, but you don't want it to be too tight. I have sped things up just a little bit, but not too fast, because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. I realize that a front post slip stitch might be something new. Okay, that was slip stitch number 10. So if we go back to our stitch marker, the slip stitch right in front of that is our first one. So this one right here. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so now it's time to chain 12. This chain 12 will become our first handle. Now we're going to skip 4 stitches. The first stitch we're skipping is the one that our yarn just came out of. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to start by working into the 5th stitch. So we go in that one and out the next. And we're going to resume our front post slip stitches. This time we'll be making 11. So work 11 front post slip stitches. Remember, you always go back into the stitch that the yarn is coming out of. I've done a bit of time travel again. We're finishing up those 11 slip stitches. When you go back to count, the first one is where you attached your first handle. So that's 1. Make sure you have 11 slip stitches. And then you're going to chain 12 again to create your second handle. Once again, we're going to skip 4 stitches. The first stitch is the one that the yarn just came out of, so count 4 and then go into the 5th stitch, come out the next, and this is going to be our last front post slip stitch. Now we have 2 handles for our basket. and you can really see our project taking shape. Those front post slip stitches really add a nice detail. Okay, so now we're on to round 10. You can see that I've moved my working yarn to the right, and now I'm placing my hook into the first stitch that we have marked by our stitch marker. For round 10, we'll just be working single crochets in each stitch around. Go ahead and replace your stitch marker. And you'll see that even though we've worked those front post slip stitches, you can still see where you're going to place your hook into each stitch. There's plenty of room. So you'll just go ahead and work 30 single crochets. I am speeding us along, and we're down to our last 3 stitches of this round. So here's 29 and 30. You might have to look a little harder forward, sort of right behind the handle. But here we go. Now, honestly, at the end of round 10, you could just about call your basket done. She's cute. She could be finished. You could work a slip stitch to your first stitch and then weave in your ending tail, but this pattern calls for one more round. Round 11 is another round of front post slip stitches. We'll start by going into that first marked stitch, and then you'll just work your front post slip stitches all the way around. Here we are on our last front post slip stitch. It's right in front of the handle. Once you complete this stitch, you can go ahead and remove your stitch marker. And now I'm just going to cut my working yarn. And we can pull this through the loop on our hook. Now thread your yarn, and I pass this yarn to the wrong side of the work, going through the middle of the next slip stitch. And now there's nothing left to do but to weave in our last tail, and our basket will be complete. The finished measurements are about 7.5 inches, or about 18.5 centimeters in diameter, maybe about 4 3/4, 4.5 inches high, or about 12 centimeters. Let's take a moment and admire our work. These baskets are so cute. I love the handles. You can actually put a project in them and carry them around, so I often use these for smaller whips. They make really nice gift baskets. Imagine putting a few treats inside and giving one to a friend. I love that you can take a collection of yarn that perhaps you've lost interest in and turn it into something cute and practical, and perhaps even the perfect gift. These handy baskets are holding things for me all over my studio. I hope you enjoyed this project and you find it a fun way to de-stash. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a pattern. I share videos every Tuesday and I can't wait to share more patterns with you. Thank you. See you next time.